Okay, y'all, we are recording. This is the call in case you logged on and you are like, where am I and who are these strange people? This is a call about overcoming fear, discouragement, and self-doubt in your business. And Becky, Paige, and I are hosting it. So just wanted to let you know, in case you have logged on the wrong call, you might stay and just hang out. But just a reminder, this is a Zoom call, which is, as you can see, if you're looking at the screen or not, you are being recorded, and everyone who has their video on can see everything you're doing. So if you want to multitask, just keep that in mind, that we can see you multitasking. We can see everything unless you specifically turn off your video. So I always like to keep that in mind, because there has been some crazy stuff that we've seen on Zoom in the past. So anyway, without further ado, I will go ahead and get started. Kind of how we're going to do this call is Becky and I are going to kind of tag team, and so I don't think we're going to have time for questions at the end, but we're going to try to cover all of these and get you in and out in an hour. So anyway, we'll go ahead and get started. Like I said, my name is Ellen Ford, and I'm a Diamond Ambassador with Plexus. And the reason why Becky and I kind of got together on doing this call was because, this seems to be something that's been laid on our heart, that the more and more we talk to people, the more and more, we find out from people like, hey, I want to do more, I want to be more, but I feel like something's holding me back. And the three main themes that keep coming back around are fear, discouragement, and self-doubt. And, those things not only happen in Plexus business, but they happen in life all the time. And we have to constantly be dealing with those. So we're going to tackle those. But, for those three things, they can really stifle a business. They can make your business completely come to a halt, because we can get into the business and kind of go, oh, I got the hang of this, but then when it comes to that part of it, a lot of times that's the thing that has chains around us, so to speak, and we cannot move forward unless we kind of bust through that wall. And we keep hearing the common theme of, man, I'm really afraid of what people think, or I just get so discouraged seeing all these people rank up, or, man, really thinking, can I really do this? Is Plexus something that I can really do? And we've all thought those things. I've thought those things. But I want to tell you a little bit about my personality. If you are on this call and you maybe have not met me, I'm not very quiet, and I don't sugarcoat a lot of stuff, because I'm one of those people that I'm like, you know what, I just gonna come out with it, and whatever happens is gonna happen, and I'll try to rein it back in. But usually I'm kind of one of those people that I'd rather ask for forgiveness than permission, so I'm all in. And that has done well for me with Plexus, because I think my personality is more, I'm a pastor's wife, but I also have that, I'm a kind of a thrill seeker, risk taker type mentality. And not like I'm jumping out of airplanes or anything like that, only because no one's asked me personally to jump out of an airplane. But I kind of have one of those people that have a no fear attitude, and I'm like, you know what? No, I really don't know the outcome, but let me just see what happens. I'm going to do it anyway, and then see what happens. So that part of my personality has really, really helped me. But I come in contact with so many people that they're not like that. Everyone is raised differently. We come from different backgrounds. And so me thinking, well, why don't you just do that? Why don't you just send that cold call out? Why don't you just do those things? Because that's what I would do. And I have learned that we come from all different kinds of backgrounds, and not everyone is the jump out of the airplane type person. And I really am working with my team on busting through these barriers and getting to the point where, hey, we're not jumping out of an airplane every day, but we might do it once a week. Or, you know what, I'm gonna do it once every other day. And just kind of like, let me just get out there and do it. So, and I found that in my business, when I am taking action and doing, like, taking action steps on building my business, it helps me overcome that fear, that discouragement, that self-doubt, because it's kind of like my mind is busy on action items, so it doesn't have time to kind of turn inwardly and kind of break my spirit. So the first thing before we get into it that we want to talk about is our belief. And you know, I did a poll not too long ago on the jewels page, and that it consists of diamonds, sapphires, and emeralds, all the people who have, you know, ranked up consistently, gone to the top. And I said, in a few words, you know, kind of what's the difference you think between a jewel and a non-jewel? Meaning, if you had two people who started at the same point and you track their progress over like a year or 2 year period, if one was like top of the company and one was like just struggling, what do you think the difference would be? And I got all kinds of answers, but they were pretty much the same five answers. But the number one reason, and I thought it was going to be something totally different than what it was, the number one characteristic of a jewel is belief. And that is belief in yourself, and belief in the company, and belief in the products. And, you know, in the beginning, I'm like, belief, I wanted it to be like consistency, because that's what I am. I love consistency. And I thought, well, that's what it's going to be. Because I like nerded out and like tallied up all the little responses that I got. And by far the biggest, you know, the number one thing was belief. And I thought, well, how do you explain that? What does that mean, belief? Like, I believe in plexus, whatever. So I thought, let me just dig into that. And I thought, what is even the definition of belief? So I'm like, you know, did what any kind of scholarly person would do, and I Googled it. What is belief? And it says a state of mind in which a person thinks something to be the case. And you're like, what? So that means whatever you think about a certain subject or feeling or whatever, that's your belief. And that's what you believe to be true. So whether you believe something is great or horrible, that's your belief. And, you know, I know we've seen these posts floating around Facebook that said, if you think you can or can't, you're right. And it's like your belief in yourself. And I kind of really did some thinking on that. And I thought, you know, unwavering belief is what we need to have. And I immediately thought of, I am a follower of Jesus Christ. And I have unwavering belief in Jesus Christ 100% all the time, every time. It's unwavering. It does not matter what, if people Google something, and, you know, you could Google Jesus and you're going to find 4 million things that, you know, about Jesus. You're going to find true things. You're going to find non-true things. You're going to find opinions. But it doesn't matter if someone says something about my faith. It doesn't matter if someone says something about my church, my pastor, you know, call me, you know, goody or whatever they do. I mean, I've been called everything, and it bounces off of me, and it does not affect my belief at all. I still have unwavering belief in Jesus Christ. And I think that hit me really hard, because I thought, that is exactly what we have to have in plexus, in not only ourselves, but in our business. And I kind of transferred that over into, you know, in my faith, it doesn't matter what people say. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter what they go, well, look at this piece of paper, what it says, you know, Jesus did or said. You can't argue what Jesus has done in my life. You can argue religion. You can argue the Bible. You can argue things are true or not true, but you cannot argue my story. You cannot tell me my life change. You can't tell me that's wrong. And the same thing goes for plexus. You can argue like the products don't work for me, or I haven't lost 40 pounds and she has, so they don't work. No one can argue the results that I have seen from plexus. Nobody can look at my husband and my kids and go, yeah, plexus doesn't work. You can't argue what it's done for me. And that to me is, there's a reason why there's almost 200 people on this call. We believe something about this company and these products. We have seen the change in our health. We have seen blessings financially, and we believe something. We just need to kind of get over the hump and go, get over that fear and get over that self-doubt. And that starts with the belief that we have in what we are doing. I talked to a girl yesterday, and we're kind of doing some, with a couple of my team members, we're doing kind of some reflection inwardly. And she's like, well, my husband left. I've got 2 kids at home. I'm working a job I hate, and I really need to make plexus work. And she's like, but I just can't find my motivation and belief. And I'm like, I'm like, what, girl? Like, you just told me what your motivation is. Those babies, and your husband left, and you're on your own trying to make the ends meet and make this work. This is your motivation. And I think hearing that really helped her go, oh, I guess she was thinking it's got to be this big thing. It's like, what is that thing that's gnawing at you? That thing that is like deep inside your heart, that is your motivation, and that is your belief. So I thought about that. That's funny that all these stories are popping up. But and also, if you think about Super Bowl yesterday, I always like to see, at the end of the game, most people don't just turn the TV off and like, oh, that was great. What do we want to do? We want to hear what is everybody saying? What is Peyton Manning going to say? I want to know, he's going to tell us the fairy dust. He's going to help tell us how they did this. And so we're listening attentively, trying to find out, what did they say? And I don't know if it was him or somebody else on his team, but it was like, I wrote down a couple things they said. It was like, we grinded all season long, every single week. We faced adversity all season, and we just kept going. And it was like, there's not some kind of like flashy story here. Every single day, they got up, they did the hard work, they grinded, and that stuff is not fun. But they did all the hard work, and they put it, and that built their belief, that built their confidence, and they just kept doing those things that they knew how to do every single day. And I think that stuck out to me as well on belief, is because that's how you build your belief. You keep doing those consistent things that even though some days you're like 5-3-1, I don't even know, no one's even reaching out to me. Why should I even do this? It's because, like I was thinking this weekend, you think, oh, you're dumb and you don't worry about anything, whatever. Yeah, I still go through the exact same thing you guys do all the time. Like, man, I've sent out like a bunch of messages over the last few weeks, and man, I've gotten some people respond, but just yesterday I was like, oh, wow, I guess it's just, everybody's waiting for payday. And then out of the blue, someone calls me. I won't tell you what she said, because it's like, it was crazy funny, but she was like, you got to walk me through the sign-up process, because I cannot be on the beach looking like a whale. And so I was like, oh my gosh. And I wasn't even thinking of her, but it's that daily grinding and doing those things, and, having people like slam the door in our face and go, I don't even know why you're doing this. And just like letting it bounce off and keep going, because y'all, there are people out there praying for this opportunity and praying for these products, and we are the people to show it to them. But we got to believe in ourselves, and we have to believe in the company and the products. So y'all have heard enough about me. I'm going to kick it on over to my friend, Becky Page.
Oh my gosh, tell me that you can hear me, because I just got a thing saying my connection is unstable. Can you hear me okay? Okay, good. All right. Well, thanks, Ellen. Ellen called me, I guess it was last week. We threw this together pretty quick. She said, hey, I'm thinking of doing this talk on fear and discouragement and self-doubt. Would you be up for that? And I was like, in a heartbeat, Ellen. And here's why. So y'all get the y'all get the good stuff tonight, because here's the deal. Ellen, if you're on Ellen's team, Ellen plays, what is it? Bad cop, hard cop. She comes in and goes, here's what you got to do. If you don't do this, you're not on our coaching page, and I want this many cold calls or this many cold messages. And it's awesome because Ellen is a recruiting monster. And I have to tell you that I admire her, and she is one of my sidelines. I talk with Ellen probably every day about the business. And she has all of that moxie that I love. And then I come in and I get to be like the feel good cop, the therapist, which is what I do. So for those of you guys that don't know me, I'm Becky Page. I'm a Sapphire Ambassador with Plexus Worldwide. I'm also a licensed professional counselor and supervisor here in Dallas, and I own a large private practice, and I still counsel people. So I still see clients even while doing Plexus. And let me tell you why this topic was so intriguing for me. Really, like, for those of y'all that have been in Plexus for more than 6 months, I'm going to say something and you can all kind of nod with me if you agree. But Plexus will challenge you, and Plexus will show you your weaknesses. It'll show you the areas that you need to work on. And it's hard. It is a lot of fun. It is a great, great company, but it will peel back the layers of your onion and show you what you're dealing with. And let me tell you, the thing that I have had to deal with so much in Plexus is fear. That's not a surprise to me. I spent 5 years in a 12-step organization learning that I really, really struggle with fear. That fear is one of my major character defects. And even when I got into Plexus, even before I joined and signed up, out of fear, I spent a lot of time Googling, is Plexus dangerous? Is Plexus going to hurt me? Does Plexus have bad ingredients? Is it safe? Because I was really afraid. I actually spent my first couple of months as an ambassador being afraid. Oh my gosh, what if I share this with someone and like they have a heart attack? And so if you've had some of those concerns and fears, let me tell you, I already beat you to the punch. I've already been there. And that's why I want to speak to you guys with confidence about fear. I want to do a little therapy stuff beforehand and kind of build a groundwork for the idea of fear. Fear is just a feeling. Feelings aren't good or bad. It's what we do with feelings that can be good or bad. Feelings are just energy. We are all made in the image of God, and I know that He is an emotional God because, for one, it talks about it a lot in the Bible. By the way, if you don't ascribe to the Christian faith, that's okay. Ellen and I do, and that's part of where we're coming from tonight. But I want you to know that we'd be happy to talk with you further about some of these things. We're going to spend a little time tonight talking about stuff that happens in the Bible and stuff that's born out of our faith, just because we are the filter that this is coming through. So first of all, I want you guys to know, hey, God knew we were going to struggle with fear. Every time in the Bible that a supernatural representative of God shows up, what are the first words they always say? They always say, don't fear, don't be afraid, fear not. God knew we were going to be afraid. I don't know if you knew, there's this false idea that, oh, there's 365 references to fear in the Bible, and that's actually not true. There are several hundred references to fear because it is the emotion that is probably talked about most in Scripture. It's a primal instinct. I think of fear as fear can be a powerful, powerful sensation. The way I imagine powerful fear, it's like that mom whose child gets caught under the car, and in a moment of adrenaline burst, that mom can lift the car off of her baby. It's super primal. It's a natural instinct. It's one of the first emotions that babies show. So that's point number one. God knew that we were going to be afraid. I got about 6 points. I'll blow through them. Number two is fear has many curses and only one gift. Let me break that down for y'all. When I talk about the curses of fear, what I mean is the negative ways that fear can show up in your life. So let me name just a few of them, and you guys kind of, if one of these sounds familiar, try it on and think about it. But some of the curses that fear shows up in are anxiety. Now, listen, I'm a therapist, and I can tell you, let's see, at my practice, there are 17 clinicians. We talk We get together every week and discuss cases and try to encourage and help each other out. And I'll tell you, the number one issue that's driving people into counseling, bar none, across the board, is anxiety. Even quote unquote mentally healthy people who maybe haven't been through clinical depression, they are wrestling with anxiety. The second one is stress. Another curse of fear is stress. Another is worry, control, trying to control everything around us, everyone around us. How about this one? Criticism. Sometimes fear shows up, I'm fearful or concerned about this, so what I do is I will criticize and criticize and criticize. Now, I hear this all the time from Plexus downlines. The minute they get any sort of negative news about Plexus or a product or shipping or corporate or whatever, the first thing they do is start criticizing. And what I remind myself is, okay, this person's scared. They're fearful. Another way that fear often shows up is defensiveness. So when you think about it, it's like when someone, if you know you're about to get in trouble with someone, how many times do we throw up defenses to try to protect ourselves, to push them back? It's not my fault. I'm trying to do everything I can. When someone's holding you accountable and you get defensive, you can test yourself, and probably somewhere behind that defensiveness is fear. It goes on and on. There's lots of curses to fear. There's only one gift. The Bible says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And all that means is, if I fear God more than anyone else, and what that word fear means in Scripture is, if I revere Him, honor Him, trust Him, and love Him more than anyone or anything else, that's the beginning of wisdom. I'd like to ask you guys, as you examine some of your fear and self-doubt when it comes to Plexus, is it because you really fear the Lord, or is it because you fear your fellow mankind? Do you fear the audience that you're performing for? Do you fear, I call it the peanut gallery. Like, did anyone else kind of used to imaginary, like you'd live your life thinking, oh, like what if my life is like a movie reel and everyone's constantly watching? That's what social media does. It gives us this false idea that everyone's constantly watching me, and I'm either going to get their approval or disapproval. Well, guys, that is fear of mankind. And it's not a healthy fear. It's going to inhibit you. It's going to control you in a lot of different ways. So when I talk about wisdom being a gift of fear, I'm talking about that idea, like when you see your child or a little one that you love going and reaching for a hot stove, you grab their hand, you go, no, that's healthy fear, because you know that this hot stove will burn them. So you've got to check, is your fear healthy or unhealthy? It's very rare that healthy fear is leading you to wisdom. So check your fear. Is it in the curse category or the gift category? Here's number 3. And this is important, especially if you are silver or above. Fear is infectious. I want you to think about the last time that you sat in the presence of someone who was really anxious and stressed out. Maybe you were in a doctor's office, maybe you were in a meeting at work, and they were like tapping their foot and bouncing up and down, and they were kind of furrowed brow, and maybe they were talking really fast. And how did you start to feel after spending time with that person? I know for me, especially as a counselor, job hazard, I have to work really hard to kind of detach from people's feelings, because I know if I get sucked into their fear, I can't help them. I can't do them any good. But you need to know that you will infect your team and your customers one way or another. If you're battling fear and self-doubt and discouragement, you will unknowingly and maybe even undesiringly infect them. So I want to ask you guys this. Do you want to be the voice of fear for someone else? Do you want to let your fear infect someone that you have inspired to come on your team with you? Because by doing so, you really saddle them with a lot of junk. You're not able to encourage them and set them free. Maybe you didn't lose 20 pounds, but maybe they did. Maybe you weren't battling chronic fatigue, but maybe they were. Maybe you weren't reliant on blood pressure medications, but they were, and now they're off those medications. Your fear can attack someone else's testimony and keep them from growing into the person and peace that they need to be. Okay, Number 4, fear begets discouragement and doubt. So fear is the core that leads to discouragement and doubt. It's the root. So I'm not trying to be all seminary on y'all, but I did get a counseling degree from seminary, and I apologize. Ellen's a preacher's wife, and I'm a preacher's daughter. I want you to remember, do you remember Genesis in the garden? Do you guys remember what what the serpent said to Eve about when she brought that fruit? And, hey, we're not supposed to eat of this tree. We can eat of every single other tree but this one. And he said, wait, did God really say that? He said, hath God said? And that just means he was planting doubts in their minds already. So we know that, like, from the dawn of time, doubt has planted the seeds of failure for us. Like, that's just part of who we come from. That's part of our old story. If that resonates with you, then welcome to the big fat club of being a human. But you need to know that the seeds of doubt will lead you into sin. And I don't say that to condemn you or to scare you or to threaten you. I say it so that you can recognize it and overcome it. Fear and doubt are going to lead you into believing things that are not true. They're going to lead you into a struggle that you're not meant to be saddled with. You need to be aware. I tell clients all the time, the very first thing to overcoming some sort of belief pattern or emotional pattern or even a neurological pattern, a cognitive pattern, the way you've been trained to think, the very first thing to overcoming it is being aware of it. And so becoming aware that you might be a slave to fear is actually a good thing, because you have to have the awareness to change. Here's point number 5. Fear leaks into our self-talk. And that's kind of what I'm talking about when I talk about our cognitive patterns. Your fear will color how you talk to yourself about yourself. So lacking belief about our products, about your abilities, it all stems from how you're talking to yourself. It stems from your self-talk. You need to examine your inner messages, and you need to change your inner messages. So the very first thing, like I said, is getting aware. Am I struggling with fear? And if so, how is it coloring how I talk to myself? Are you telling yourself that you're not doing as good as, we all got that email today about the leaderboard. P.S. I don't know if I've ever been on the leaderboard. I've heard that I might have in the very beginning, but even then, I don't think I paid attention and knew about it. Let me just say this. Since then, I have not been on the leaderboard, okay? Hallelujah, praise the Lord, because I can tell you, those emails can be tough sometimes, because you see them and go, oh, God, I wonder what it's like to be all these people that are ranking so quickly. Oh, I wonder what it's like to just sign a rock star. I hear that all the time. I want you to know this, like, if that's not your story, just be glad it's not your story. That doesn't mean anything's wrong with you. But once you let those seeds of doubt and what am I doing wrong that it's not looking like her story, and you start comparing. We talk a lot about comparison being the thief of joy, but you need to know, if you stay stuck there, I'm going to tell you how the brain works. If you lived on an old dirt road and you drove a Jeep to and from your house and your job every day, what would happen to that old dirt road? You going back and forth and back and forth, and I'm at home and now I'm at work, and I'm at home and I'm at work. You would build some ruts in that road. That's just a natural fact, right? As just a couple rains come and your Jeep goes down that road, you've got some serious ruts there. Well, you need to know that that's how your brain is made. Neurological pathways get formed. You think about when you go to wash your hair in the shower, do you have to think real hard about how you do that? Like, what's your routine? You don't even think about it. It's because those neurological pathways have been formed by behaviors that you've been doing again and again and again. It's the same way with belief and self-talk. If you have been telling yourself long before plexus, I don't measure up, I'm not as good at my job as other people, people are going to laugh at me, I'm not a salesman, I can't convince people of things, nobody wants to listen to me, I don't know a lot about health, I'm not in good shape, I can't talk about health products. Y'all, You've already shot yourself before you even started. You have to get out of the ruts. And to do so is going to be really hard. It is going to require mental exercise. It will not happen magically, and it absolutely won't happen unless you take yourself on and you work on it. P.S. No sponsor, no leader, no jewel in your upline, no sideline can help you defeat the battle that you've already started in your head. Point 6, my last point. Here's a big one. What would you do if you weren't afraid? If fear was not your reality, how would it change how you behave? If you could just rest and trust that by sharing with many, you could be a blessing to a few, how would it change your belief and behavior? And Ellen made a point of this earlier when I think she was talking about jumping out of an airplane. You know, the only way to defeat fear is to take that thing that you're scared of and just start doing it over and over again. There's actually a kind of therapy that we do with people with anxiety, and it's called exposure therapy. You know, so like if someone is terrified of germs, then we take them and have them go climb in the dumpster and get real dirty or go in somebody's nasty bathroom. Exposure therapy, you just face your fear. It's amazing what you'll realize that you can overcome just by embracing your fear and taking it on. And that's what I want to challenge you guys with today. Whatever it is that you're afraid of, write it down and then come up with a plan to start facing it. You will be amazed at how this thing doesn't have the hold on you that it used to. That's my 6 points, Ellen.
Okay, I unmuted. I think you need to set up a PayPal account so that we can pay you for the counseling we just received. Because that was, y'all, I took like a bunch of pages of notes. I'm going to remute everybody. I think someone may have snuck out and got muted or unmuted. Wow, Becky, that was amazing. I wrote down everything you said. But, you know, great stuff. But that fear is what I say in a lot of calls, like fear and discouragement are cousins, and it's like a cycle. And, you know, we're afraid to reach out to people, or we're afraid to, you know, be bold and just go ahead and, you know, do that meeting or whatever it is. And then we start getting discouraged because no one's reaching out to us. Then we start doubting our abilities, like Becky was saying. And then here we are back up at fear again. And it's just this cycle that until you do those things that Becky's talking about, and we all do them, because like she said, we're human, and this is part of life on this side of heaven, is these types of things. So, you know, fear kind of leads into self-doubt and discouragement. You know, we are our number one enemy. I don't know that there's anybody out there on planet Earth who is harder on me than myself. And that's kind of where I find my drive and that type of thing. But, you know, I talked to a couple people today, and they were like, I'm just very petrified and scared to reach out to those closest to me, to my family, to my close friends, because, you know, one thing about family and close friends, they are going to tell you the truth. They're not going to, you know, if you put on 30 pounds and you come into Thanksgiving, it's not like, oh, you look so cute. It's like, girl, what have you been doing? I mean, they're going to give us the God honest truth. And so I think, you know, we don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear those things about myself. So we're very, very scared of what other people think. And I think what you said, Becky, about sometimes we got to jump out of the airplane. I'll jump out with you. If you are scared and you want me to jump out with you, I'll do it, because I can't wait to do it, because I'm like excited. But, you know, that is such a good thing. You know, in the very beginning with Plexus, I was thinking, this is so dumb. I'm not going to promote network marketing on Facebook. I'm a paralegal. I work at a large firm. I'm not doing that. And whoopsie, what am I doing now? So, because I was scared. I'm like, oh my gosh, what are people going to think of me if I start doing this? But then that side of me that was kind of like, well, what, would be cool if somebody thought it was, if somebody ordered from me, even if I got one order, and, that'd be cool. And so I went ahead and did it. I talked to the people on my coaching team a lot about this. It's like, make your chicken list, make a list of people that just absolutely scares you half to death to reach out to. And then about midnight, I want you to stay up till midnight, and I want you to go send all these messages out to them, like cold call messages, and then get off your computer, shut it down, and go to bed. Because you're going to go to sleep, and then by the time you wake up tomorrow, you're like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot I messaged these people. So your fear kind of goes away because you just went to bed and slept for 8 hours. So I kind of try to find, okay, what's the easiest way that I can tackle this fear? Because I still have people that I'm like, even, being a diamond, I'm like petrified to reach out to people because, there's still that thing that's like, oh, I'm not sure if I should do that. And I still have self-doubt. So, and also what Becky said about the infectious part of it, people are not going to be attracted to Debbie Downers. I think about that Saturday Night Live skit. I think her name's Debbie Downer, where they're having a little fun, and then it's like, wah, wah. And I think about, what, if I am constantly giving off these vibes of, discouragement, like, oh, the back office, man, if it weren't for the back office, I'd probably be right up there. And man, I'm never going to do this. And, it's like, I do not want to be around that. We want to be around someone that's like, all right, here, let's get a plan. Let's do this. Okay, we're going to overcome. And y'all, there were so many times when I was working that I was kind of to the point where I was like, can I really do this? Can I really prove to everybody that I'm going to, and mostly prove to myself, but can I really do this? Make Plexus like my job? There was days where I remember, I go to my little place at night and I take a hot bath and I just kind of like think about the day and what I'm doing. And I would sit there at night and just think, man, I don't know if I can do this. Can I really? And I would have a lot of moments at night going, you know what? But what made me overcome that discouragement and self-doubt was thinking, I hate my job. I want to be home with my children. I want this so bad. I don't care. I just don't care if I'm scared. I don't care if I doubt myself. I'm doing it. And I am going to, if it takes me 20 years, I'm doing it. That's even, if I work 20 years at Plexus, that's 20 less years I'm going to have to work at my 40-year job. So I got to the point where I just kind of got angry. I was like, I'm just mad. I'm not going to work with that man anymore. My boss was crazy. I'm not going back to that place. I'm going to get out of here. And that kind of pushed me over the edge of the fear and the discouragement and the self-doubt. And I think if you look and find what drives you deep down, what makes you move, sitting there going, yeah, I really need to work this business harder. Or, man, I'm just too scared to reach out to that person. If you are totally fine with where you are today and you are fearful and you're discouraged and you doubt yourself, you have to look at it like this. And this is bad cop. So Becky, you're going to have to jump in and smooth the edges. But if you're totally fine with where you are today, never moving forward another step, then allowing that fear, you're allowing fear to control you. So just think about, do I want to be in this exact same spot a year from now? We've got to overcome. And it's a daily process. It's not something that you're like, oh, that's gone. What's the next thing I can overcome? It's like a constant thing that we have to deal with. But like Becky said, when we start, doing the repetitive things and like facing it a little bit here, facing it a little bit there. A lot of people on my team will go, oh my gosh, I made the chicken list and I reached out to those people and oh my gosh, one of my chicken listers, she wanted more information. And they think, oh, that wasn't so scary. It's like, yeah, I mean, the more they do it, the more I do it. It gets a little bit better that second time. It gets a little easier that third time. So keep at it. And I say put action behind it, and a little action can kind of take the edge off of the discouragement and the self-doubt. Becky, you want to smooth it out since bad cop?
Yeah, I don't think it needs smoothing. I think, honestly, we all need like to be emboldened. And I would just tell you, don't get mad at the person that believes in you more than you believe in yourself. You know, if it's your downline, your upline, or whoever, when they challenge you to get outside of your comfort zone, or maybe to get outside of the negative headspace you're in, don't get mad. That's someone who's speaking belief into you. And you should be grateful. Man, I can't even tell y'all. Well, you guys know, a lot of you guys have been in or are currently in a job situation where nobody really believes in you. You know, nobody really cares. I mean, if you show up or not, a lot of you guys feel underappreciated. Even if you're not working, maybe you feel underappreciated at home. Man, this is a place where not only do we want to appreciate you guys, we want to embolden you. We want to encourage you. We want to lift your sails. Like, I love the fact that Ellen says, if you want to go jump out of the airplane, like, I'll come with you. I'll do it with you. Man, this is a place where people want to cheer you on. If you're having a negative reaction to people being excited with you and for you, you better step back and examine, man, what is going on between, you know, they say a lot of places, between here and here. It's a bad neighborhood. Don't go in there alone. That's why sometimes it just helps to talk this stuff out. And one of my favorite things to do with people in my downline is to get on a 3-way call and just to talk out. Okay, what are you telling yourself? Because whatever it is you're telling yourself is not working. Let's find something that works for you. So you gotta get in there and do some self-examination. And I love Ellen's challenge to y'all. And I agree with you. I'll just say it in a real therapy way.
I love it because I come out, y'all know me. I come out and I just lay it out. So, man, that was amazing. I'm like, I can't wait to go make sense of the notes that I scribbled out. But y'all, we really appreciate you being on the call. And I know for me, this has shed light on areas where I can improve, and just that negative self-talk. We all face it. It's not like you get to a certain level and it's gone. We're all going to face it. But, you know, that's why my big passion is like, man, I want to get in there and I want to help you believe that you can do it too. I know you can do it. You just have to believe you can do it. So, Becky, do you have any other words you want to share with us?
No, the only thing I would say is, if you can figure out what it is that's like, if you can turn your biggest fear into one statement, like one false belief statement, write it down and then find something corresponding, like either a positive reflection or a passage from scripture or something, you know, your sweet daddy told you while you were growing up that contradicts it. Write them down together and post it somewhere where you can see it, because that's what I mean when I talk about getting out of the ruts. You're going to have to do battle with your thoughts, and the only way you can do it, right, is to be aware of the negative stuff and then to come alongside with a positive opposing thought that cancels it out. Okay, so I would encourage you to write those two things down so you can stay aware and start practicing truth. That's all I got.
Awesome, Becky. Thank you all so much for joining us for the call. I'm sure we will do things like this in the future. So thanks y'all so much, and go Plexus.
Thank you.